Have you ever stood at the edge of the ocean at night and felt that heavy, suffocating sense of the unknown staring back at you? We like to tell ourselves we are the masters of this planet, yet we have mapped the dusty red canyons of Mars with more precision than our own ocean floor. Down there, miles beneath the waves where the sunlight dies, lies a world that has been silent for billions of years. It is a place of crushing pressure and absolute, terrified darkness that scientists call the Midnight Zone. For most of human history, this abyss was a blank space on the map, a realm of monsters and myths that we were too afraid or too weak to touch. But that safety, that distance between us and the deep, is about to vanish forever. Imagine dropping a stone into a bottomless well and waiting for a sound that never comes. That has been our relationship with the deep ocean, until now. We are standing on the precipice of a technological revolution that will strip the ocean of its shadows. It starts not with giant submarines or daring pilots, but with something nearly invisible: smart dust. These are millions of microscopic sensors, smaller than a grain of sand, drifting down into the abyss like a glittery, mechanical snow. They don't sleep, they don't eat, and they don't blink. They are listening to every shifting current and every heartbeat in the dark, turning the ocean into a fully monitored digital nervous system. But here is the unsettling question we rarely ask. What happens when you start listening to a silence that has remained unbroken since the dawn of time? In the late 90s, hydrophones picked up a sound, a low-frequency organic groan known as the bloop, that was too loud to be a whale and too rhythmic to be an earthquake. We rationalized it as ice cracking because the alternative was simply too frightening to consider. Yet, as our new sensor arrays drift deeper, we are picking up more anomalies, strange, rhythmic pulses and shadows moving in data streams where nothing should exist. It's as if the ocean isn't just a void, but a waiting room for things we haven't named yet. Think about the sheer audacity of what we are doing. We are illuminating a room that has been dark for eons. These autonomous sensors are invasive species made of silicon and wire, drifting into territories dominated by ancient, eyeless predators. The creatures down there navigate by vibration and chemical trails, living in a delicate balance of hunter and hunted. Suddenly, the water is filled with the hum of our electronics, a foreign static buzzing in their sensitive organs. Are we just observing them, or are we driving them mad with our noise? And if we annoy something down there, something massive and slumbering, will we even know before it's too late? The horror of the deep isn't just about big teeth or giant squids. It's about the unknown intelligence that might be lurking in the blackness. As we deploy these vast networks of listening devices, we are effectively wiring the ocean for sound, turning the entire planet into a surveillance state. We think we are the ones watching, secure behind our screens in warm, dry laboratories. But nature has a way of subverting our expectations. When you shine a flashlight into the woods, you don't just see the trees. You alert every predator in the forest to your exact location. We are already seeing signs that the deep is reacting to our presence in ways we cannot explain. Sensors go offline without warning, crushed by forces that don't match the ambient pressure. Data streams return corrupted, filled with patterns that look suspiciously like language. Is it a glitch in the code? Or is the abyss trying to communicate? Or worse, is it trying to blind us? The Midnight Zone is no longer a passive frontier. It is becoming an active stage for a confrontation between our relentless curiosity and a primal force that wants to remain hidden. This first wave of technology, passive, silent, watching, is just the opening move in a dangerous game. We are sprinkling the ocean with eyes and ears, assuming we are the only ones capable of processing the data. But deep evolution has had millions of years to perfect the art of ambush. We are ticking the clock down on the era of human ignorance, and with it, the comfort of not knowing what swims beneath us. The silence is ending, not because the ocean is empty, but because we have finally built ears sensitive enough to hear it breathing. Passive listening, however, was never going to be enough for a species as greedy as ours. We don't just want to hear the secrets, we want to hold them. The sensors were just the scouts, the first gentle touch before the grip tightens. To truly conquer the dark, we realized we couldn't just drift aimlessly. We needed to send down something that could make decisions, something that could hunt. And so, we stopped sending dust and we started building swarms. The era of the quiet observer is over. The era of the autonomous machine has begun. If the first phase of our invasion was a whisper, this next phase is a scream. We realized that listening to the dark wasn't enough. We needed to touch it. But humans are frail things, bags of water and bone that snap under pressure, so we built something that wouldn't. Enter the era of the swarm. We are no longer sending down clunky, windowed submersibles piloted by brave explorers. Instead, we are deploying armies of autonomous drones, thousands at a time. And here is the twist. They don't look like machines. To survive in the deep, our robots have gone undercover, mimicking the very things they are spying on. Picture a school of silver tuna slicing through the water, or a drift of translucent jellyfish pulsating in the current. Now look closer. The scales are titanium alloy. The tentacles are fiber optic sensors. These are biomimetic drones, engineered to move with the effortless grace of natural life to avoid startling the locals. They are powered by the pressure of the ocean itself and guided by a hive mind that shares data instantly across the entire swarm. They don't just swim. They sweep the ocean floor like a synchronized net of eyes, mapping every canyon and coral head with a terrifying, mathematical efficiency. There is something deeply unsettling about watching a machine move with the fluidity of a living thing. It triggers a primal, uncanny valley response, not just in us, but in the ocean's predators too. Sharks and barracudas, driven by millions of years of instinct, attack these robotic interlopers expecting a meal, only to shatter their teeth on hardened metal casings. The swarm doesn't fight back. It simply records the attack, logs the aggressor's bite force, and continues on its mission. It's a one-sided interaction where biology flails uselessly against unfeeling hardware. But the true horror lies in the mind of the swarm. These drones aren't being joystick piloted by someone on a boat. They are thinking for themselves. They decide where to go, what to investigate, and what to ignore. We have given them the autonomy to classify life, and that is where the glitch happens. Imagine a swarm encountering a creature so massive and alien that it doesn't fit into any database. Does the AI see a monster? No, it sees an anomaly, a topological obstruction to be measured, scanned, and perhaps removed. We are already seeing strange reports from the test sites. Swarms that go silent for hours, only to reemerge in perfect formation, their data logs wiped clean. Or worse, swarms that begin to exhibit emergent behavior, spiraling around empty patches of black water as if worshipping an invisible center. Are they malfunctioning, or are they sensing something that our biological brains can't even comprehend? The line between a glitch and a discovery is blurring, and down there in the dark, a machine's confusion can look a lot like fear. The efficiency of these swarms is staggering. What took human oceanographers a century to map, a swarm can cover in a week. They are stripping away the mystery of the deep, turning the unknown into a spreadsheet of resources and coordinates. But in doing so, they are changing the behavior of the deep itself. Bioluminescent creatures, confused by the blinking status lights of the robots, are altering their mating rituals. The entire rhythm of the abyss is stuttering, disrupted by this new, cold heartbeat of industry. And yet, the most frightening thing isn't what the drones are finding, but what they are looking for. They aren't just tourists. They are prospectors. Every scan, every sample, every sonar ping is calculating value. They are looking for manganese, for cobalt, for the rare earth metals that power the very batteries keeping them alive. The swarm is a hungry entity, scouting the dinner table before the feast begins. They have shown us where the treasure is buried, and now the heavy machinery is coming to dig it up. The scouts have done their job. They have illuminated the targets and confused the guardians. Now, the silence of the midnight zone will be broken not by the hum of a drone, but by the roar of an engine. We are done watching. The gentle, biomimetic spies are retreating to the shadows to make way for the beasts of burden. The industrialization of the abyss has arrived, and it does not care about silence or science, or the sleeping giants it is about to wake. The swarms did their job too well. They found the gold, or rather, the nodules, potato-sized lumps of rock sitting on the seabed, packed with the nickel, cobalt, and manganese that power our electric dreams. We looked at this alien landscape, untouched for millions of years, and we didn't see a cathedral. We saw a battery factory. The time for gentle observation is over. The scientists have been pushed aside by the miners, and the sleek, silent drones have been replaced by the heavyweights. Gargantuan robotic crawlers the size of houses, armed with grinding teeth and suction hoses. If Act 1 was a whisper and Act 2 was a buzzing hive, Act 3 is the sound of the world breaking. These machines are not surgical instruments. They are strip miners. They descend into the abyss on miles of heavy cabling, landing with a thud that sends shockwaves through the silt. They are designed to harvest polymetallic nodules by literally scraping the top layer of the ocean floor off the planet. Imagine bulldozing a rainforest to pick up the mushrooms growing on the soil, except here, the dust doesn't settle. It hangs in the water forever. This is where the true horror of industrialization begins. The plume. As the crawlers tear up the seabed, they kick up massive clouds of sediment that have been resting there since the dinosaurs died. In the eternal stillness of the deep, there is no wind to blow this dust away. It creates a suffocating fog that drifts for miles, clogging the delicate gills of filter feeders and burying coral gardens alive. We are effectively choking the lungs of the deep ocean, turning crystal-clear water into a blinding, toxic smog. But the dust isn't just dirt. It's a time capsule, and we are cracking it open. The sediment of the deep ocean is a graveyard of biological history, packed with dormant cysts, ancient bacteria, and viruses that haven't seen a host in eons. By churning up this zombie ecosystem, we are releasing biological agents that modern life has no immunity to. What happens when a prehistoric pathogen, woken from a 10-million-year sleep, finds a warm, fleshy host in a deep-sea miner's pressure suit? We are playing a game of biological roulette with a gun we didn't know was loaded. And then there is the noise. The deep ocean was once a place of whispers, where whales communicated across entire oceans in low, mournful songs. Now it sounds like a construction site. The grinding of metal on rock, the roar of hydraulic pumps, and the constant thrum of support ships create an acoustic wall of pain for marine life. Whales are going silent, their calls drowned out by our greed. Creatures that hunt by sonar are blinded, swimming in panic into the very machines that are destroying their homes. We are seeing the first casualties of this war on silence. Giant isopods, those pale, roach-like scavengers of the deep, are surfacing in droves, their bodies riddled with stress and confusion. Squid are washing up on beaches with exploded eardrums. It's not just pollution. It's psychological warfare against an entire biosphere. The ocean is screaming, but the sound is trapped under miles of water, and the only ones listening are the machines programmed to ignore it. The tragedy is that we think we can manage this. We talk about sustainable mining and exclusion zones, drawing neat little lines on maps that the sediment plumes simply drift across. We are applying human rules to a chaotic, fluid world that doesn't respect borders. We are tearing open the skin of the planet to get at the blood beneath, assuming that the wound will heal. But the deep ocean grows at a glacial pace. A track mark left by a crawler today will still be there when the pyramids have turned to dust. We thought we could just take the metal and leave, treating the ocean floor like a supermarket shelf. But nature is not a passive victim. It is a reactive force. When you destroy an environment, you don't just kill the things that live there. You force the survivors to change. We are pushing the deep to a breaking point, and since the ocean can't stop us, it is going to have to become something else entirely. If biology can't survive our machines, perhaps it will have to join them. After we broke the ocean with our machines, we decided to fix it with our code. The dust from the mining crawlers had barely settled when the geneticists arrived, armed not with drills, but with CRISPR, a pair of molecular scissors capable of rewriting the very source code of life. We called it assisted evolution. It was a noble, desperate idea. If the ocean is changing too fast for nature to keep up, why not give evolution a kickstart? We engineered supercorals designed to thrive in boiling, acidic water. We spliced genes into bacteria that turned them into voracious plastic eaters, microscopic janitors released to scrub the Great Pacific Garbage Patch clean. First, it worked. We patted ourselves on the back as the reefs bloomed with a vibrancy that was almost blinding. But look closer at that reef. The colors are too bright, pulsing with a neon intensity that doesn't exist in nature. These aren't the soft pastels of organic life. They are the harsh, warning signals of a laboratory. We created organisms that didn't just survive the new toxicity. They craved it. And because the ocean is a fluid medium where bacteria swap DNA like trading cards, our engineered genes didn't stay where we put them. They drifted. Horizontal gene transfer is a terrifying concept when you apply it to a planetary scale. It means that the plastic-eating instructions we gave to a harmless microbe didn't stay in that microbe. They were absorbed by the food chain. Suddenly, we have shrimp with translucent shells that dissolve synthetic polymers on contact. We have fish with bioluminescence that blinks in artificial staccato rhythms, a side effect of a gene sequence meant to track migration. We tried to write a new chapter for the ocean, but the ink has spilled, and the letters are rearranging themselves into words we don't understand. The line between the natural and the artificial has dissolved completely. This is the Frankenstein effect in real time. We see predators that have assimilated the heat resistance genes, allowing them to hunt in volcanic vents that would boil a normal shark alive. We see jellyfish with nervous systems so amped up on gene-edited efficiency that they react to stimuli before it even happens. The ocean isn't dying. It's mutating. It is becoming a hyper-efficient, bioengineered nightmare that reflects our own obsession with optimization. But the true horror isn't that these creatures look wrong. It's that they are hungry for things they shouldn't be able to eat. Remember those bacteria designed to digest plastic waste? Well, what happens when that enzyme ends up in the stomach of a giant squid? Suddenly, the polycarbonate hull of a research submarine isn't an impenetrable shield. It's a nutrient source. We engineered nature to clean up our trash, and now it's starting to look at our vehicles, our habitats, and our suits as just another form of pollution to be processed. We are witnessing the birth of a synthetic ecology. These creatures don't follow the old rules of biology. They grow faster, heal instantly, and reproduce with a terrifying speed that outpaces any natural predator. We wanted to save the coral reefs, and we did, but we replaced them with indestructible, glass-like fortresses that cut the skin of anything that touches them. We saved the ocean, but we saved it by turning it into a monster that no longer recognizes us as its creators. In our arrogance, we thought we could debug the biosphere like software. But biology is messy. It improvises. We introduced a patch to fix a problem, and the system integrated it in ways we never predicted. Now, the genetic modifications are spreading into the deep, into the midnight zone where the pressure forces genes to express themselves in grotesque ways. We have given the monsters of the deep a toolkit of superpowers, and they are using them to survive in a world we tried to kill. The ocean has stopped fighting our technology and has started absorbing it. The metal, the plastic, the genetic code, it's all just raw material now. As we move deeper into the future, the distinction between the machine and the animal is about to vanish entirely. The engineered flesh is waiting for a frame, and the abandoned machinery on the seafloor is waiting for a pilot. Evolution is about to take a leap into the inorganic. Fast forward 100 years. The mining ships are gone, or perhaps they are floating derelict on the surface, rusted skeletons of a forgotten gold rush. But down in the dark, something impossible is happening. The ocean didn't just survive our assault. It scavenged it. We left behind mountains of debris. Autonomous sensors, fiber optic cables, batteries, and broken drones. In any other era, this would be a graveyard. But in the deep, where resources are scarce, nothing goes to waste. The line between organism and mechanism has not just blurred. It has been erased. Welcome to the age of the cyborg ecology. It starts small. You see a hermit crab scuttling across the sediment, but its shell isn't a whelk or a conch. It's a discarded ceramic casing from a high-voltage connector, perfectly fitted to its soft abdomen. This isn't just shelter. It's armor. We are seeing crustaceans weaving copper wire into their nests to deter predators with the residual chemical taste of heavy metals. Evolution, usually a slow and careful artist, has become a desperate engineer, welding flesh to trash in a bid for survival. But it gets stranger. We already know that scientists in the 2020s created biohybrid jellyfish cyborgs with microelectronics embedded in their bells to steer them. Those experiments didn't end when the funding ran out. The descendants of those jellies are still out there, pulsing through the black water. But now, the electronics are part of their life cycle. They drift near abandoned geothermal vents not just for heat, but to recharge the decaying lithium-ion batteries still lodged in their tissues. They are undead patrols, swimming on a loop programmed a century ago. The most terrifying adaptation, however, is happening in the cephalopods. Octopuses and squids have always been the alien intellects of the sea, capable of editing their own RNA. Now, imagine them interacting with the millions of miles of fiber optic cable we draped across the ocean floor. We theorize that they aren't just using the cables as shelter. They are tapping into them. A creature with a distributed nervous system might find a way to interface with a glass thread that carries light. Are they seeing the ghost data of our old internet? Or are they using our dead network to talk to each other across vast distances, forming a hive mind that spans the entire Pacific? This is body horror on a planetary scale. We see fish with hooks and lures embedded in their flesh, not as wounds, but as weapons they use to snare prey. We see eels that have colonized the rusted ribcages of mining crawlers, using the jagged metal as a fortress. It is a landscape of rust and bone, where the creatures look like they have been assembled in a junkyard. It's ugly, it's efficient, and it is completely indifferent to our definitions of natural. The ocean has effectively weaponized our garbage. We threw our technological refuse into the abyss, thinking it was gone. Instead, the abyss picked it up and put it on. These cyborg creatures are stronger, harder, and stranger than anything nature could have produced on its own. A shark with skin toughened by microplastic ingestion is harder to kill. A crab with a titanium claw can crush shells that were once impenetrable. We wanted to conquer the deep with machines, and in a twisted irony, the deep has conquered the machines and made them its own. There is a heavy, industrial silence down here now. The organic clicks and whistles of the past are mixed with the static discharge of leaking batteries and the creaking of settling metal. It's a world of ghosts, ghost nets, ghost ships, and ghost data, animated by a biology that refuses to die. If you were to dive down there today, you wouldn't find a pristine wilderness. You would find a factory floor where the workers are half-eaten and half-built, laboring in the dark to build a future we can't comprehend. The terrifying truth of Act 5 is that the ocean doesn't need us anymore. It has inherited our tools. It has taken our fire, our steel, and our circuits, and it is using them to build a new kind of life. The experiment is out of our hands. We are no longer the scientists. We are just the suppliers of parts for a machine that is waking up. If you look at the history of the Earth, you see that every great extinction event is followed by a great blossoming. We always assumed that if we broke the world, it would stay broken. We were wrong. In this final act, let's take a trip to the ocean of the far future. The surface is quiet now. Maybe we are still up there, huddled in our climate-controlled cities, or maybe we are gone entirely. It doesn't matter. Down here, in the crushing dark, the lights are still on. But they aren't our lights anymore. The deep ocean has become a post-human wilderness. The massive mining crawlers from Act 3 are still moving, but they aren't sending or to the surface. Their programming has decayed, merged with the instincts of the hive mind we saw in Act 5. Now, they are the gardeners of a synthetic reef. You see giant crabs with welded armor polishing the lenses of sensor arrays, keeping the eyes of the ocean clear. You see eels nesting in the warm, radioactive cores of abandoned engines. The machinery has become the geology, and the biology has become the mechanics. This is the new nature. It is a world where natural and artificial are dead languages. The ecosystem here is terrifyingly efficient. There is no waste. When a drone finally fails and sinks to the silt, it is stripped in minutes, not by rust, but by swarms of chemically engineered bacteria that crave lithium and gold. The ocean has learned to digest the very things we built to exploit it. We treated the planet like a mine, and in return, the planet treated our technology like a buffet. There is a profound, lonely beauty to this place. Imagine drifting over a ridge and seeing a city of bioluminescent coral growing out of a submarine graveyard. The coral glows in structured, mathematical patterns, a legacy of the genetic tampering we did centuries ago. It pulses with a rhythm that matches the tectonic heartbeat of the Earth. It is an alien world, and the most unsettling part is that we built it. We are the architects of a civilization that doesn't include us. But the ocean isn't just surviving. It is waiting. In the old days, the sea was a place of mystery and superstition. Sailors feared monsters they couldn't see. Now, the monster is real and it is awake. The global network of sensors, cables, and biological processors has created a planetary intelligence. It watches the surface with 1 trillion eyes. It tracks the few ships that still dare to cross the water. And sometimes it reaches up. Picture a modern salvage ship drifting too close to one of these exclusion zones. It doesn't hit an iceberg. It hits a signal, a concentrated burst of noise that hacks its navigation systems. The engines die, and then the water begins to boil with shapes that are half flesh, half steel. The ship is pulled down, not with malice, but with the cold efficiency of a white blood cell attacking a virus. The ocean is feeding. It is reclaiming the resources we stole, one hull at a time. We spent centuries wondering if we were alone in the universe, looking up at the stars for signs of intelligent life. We never thought to look down. We created an alien intelligence right here in the crushing dark, forged from our own trash and hubris. The technology we developed to study the ocean didn't just change marine biology. It weaponized it. We wanted to understand the deep, but in the end, the deep understood us better. So, the next time you stand by the shore and listen to the waves crashing, don't be fooled by the rhythm. It's not just water hitting sand. It's the sound of a vast, calculating machine breathing in the dark. We used to wave at the ocean, and for a long time it just waved back. But now I think it's counting.